What's going on, YouTube? Hope you all dig my hat. See what's going on my phone. Cool, thank you, Google. Thank you, Google. You are amazing. But, hey guys, so anyway, here I am, back at it. Back at it again. You know what, I bought this hat, brought it in Venice Beach. And I wasn't sure, I didn't notice it had a rainbow on it. But now, I'm like, shit, I'm wearing a hat with a rainbow. What do y'all think about wearing a hat with a rainbow? Would you do it? All responses are appropriate. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Now that's a mixture. That is a mixture right there, my friends. Probably wondering what I'm talking about. Since I don't even know if this account has any followers, it don't matter what I'm talking about. See if I can't share this shit live. Share it live, motherfuckers. I know. Yes, ma'am. Why the fuck does my phone remember my passwords? My damn fucking computer doesn't. Why the fuck don't I remember my passwords? Shit. Fucking so many passwords. Write them down, they say. Fuck. Don't choose the same ones, they say. Fuck. Anybody know what I can take to make my memory stronger? Make my memory a little better? Fuck it. Is what it is. We're all enjoying the journey, right? Hope so. Maybe the only one we get. Oh, here we go. Live. Anybody know what I can take? There it is. Stronger. Make my memory a little better. Is what it is. We're all enjoying the journey, right? Hope so. Maybe the only one we get. Oh, here we go. Live. Anybody know what I can take? There it is. Stronger. Make my memory a little better. Right on. So see if we have some. In the meantime, I am drinking my spirit juice. Oh. Reminds me of Korea. I was stationed there for a year. Good fucking times. Good fucking times. Let's see what we got going on. Guess I can't comment while I'm live. It's all right. That is all right. All right, so that's the discussion for today. Lack of preparation. Can't really get mad at other people for not showing up for something they didn't know about, right? Or to a host who's multitasking, distracted. So I'd like to think I have some entrepreneur friends out there who would mind sharing, joining in. Actually, you know what? I just had a fucking idea. Just had an idea. Yes, sir. It's going to be phenomenal. Just had a Just had an idea. Yes, sir. It's going to be phenomenal. Just had it. That's it, man. Never give up. Just keep reaching out, man. Just keep reaching out. I know it's probably looking a little weird since I'm talking to myself. But how do you see situations like this? Have you ever tried to create something, set up an idea, set up a platform, no one shows up? Definitely makes for the best story. Oh, here's my friend. Let's see what we can talk about.
Howdy. I love your hat.
Thank
How
you.
long have you been on for? I'm so sorry. I didn't see your message till about 10 minutes ago. And then I was like, what time were we starting? I couldn't see a time, and so I didn't know if you were still here. What has been your topic today?
Well, my topic, procrastination.
And what
Lack
were
of-
you discussing with the outside world?
You almost said with myself, huh? Lack of preparation, you know? Like, has anybody out there to include, well, we're talking right now. Like fucking nobody's listening.
Well, how long you been on for, James? How long?
About 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay. All righty. So did you want to continue or do you want to hop off?
Well,
Because
I'd
I know
like
you
to.
don't want to. Yeah.
Oh, no worries. No. Well, first of all, I'd like to hear how your event went today.
Oh, it was good. Like we're doing this 3-day challenge. So day 1 today, and it's only an hour. So you don't have a lot of time, but we fit in one practice. And there's 44 practices. So we're doing 3 practices over 3 days. And the women on the event today were very positive. They enjoyed it. They seemed to get a lot of value out of the practice. And so it was good. We taught a little thing around head bubble womb space, where when you speak from your lower dantian, even for men, then you speak with more confidence. And so you don't go into your mind and have thoughts going on while you speak. You know, when you are listening to people and whatever you're hearing, a lot of times your mind's saying, oh, I've had that. Oh, yeah, that's what and you're agreeing, but with your mind rather than listening. So your mind's talking and you're not fully present because you've got your own internal dialogue going on, plus the person's sharing and you're agreeing, but you're agreeing to your version of your own mind chatter rather than true listening.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of times people refer to that as you're waiting to speak as opposed to listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah. Were you just doing that while I was talking? When you were listening to me? Were you in here going, oh, yeah, I know what you mean by that?
No, well, I wasn't initially until I realized, even prior to you saying it, what I was doing. And I think one of the best parts of communication is being a good listener, which is why successful people are generally good listeners, because people there's no shortage of people who want to talk.
True.
There is a shortage of people who are but there are a shortage of good listeners.
Yeah. So do you want to have a go at tapping into your lower dantian and listening from there instead of your head bubble? I mean,
Well,
I know you listen from your heart anyways.
Well, I think in regards to your topic, I heard an echo, is that sometimes people think that if something doesn't necessarily apply to them, like you taught a class on the womb, right?
Yeah.
So men are thinking, well, this doesn't apply to me.
No,
But
but the men, the men have a male dantian. So it's the women have a dantian and the men have their own. So for the women, it's womb magic, but for the men, there's a masculine point in your lower body that you can sit in and speak from.
Okay, so I can see what I was going to say is that even if you don't feel like something does connect with you directly, it connects through somebody you know, interaction you're going to have. So half the people on this planet are feminine, half the people on this planet are men. You know, I mean, I can, regardless of what you want to call yourself, that's how we're born, right? It's just whatever, gender, two sources. And that means half the people I love are represented in the female area. And when we love somebody, isn't it better to want to know as much about them so you can relate, understand, and better love them?
Yes.
Because I mean,
better. Yeah.
Wow, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was just going to add and better value them because it's about our value. The internal connection to your powerful presence is you valuing you rather than valuing your mind chatter.
That's hard, man. That's hard.
Yeah. It is hard. It's a bit of a meditative practice or a habit you've got to get into because our original habit is hearing our mind talk to ourselves. And this is about letting the mind soften and quieten and hear your gut instinct, basically.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. So I was going through a little bit of a head trip, I guess you'd call it, as I was going about my business.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, doing what I do. And I was like, man, it is really, really hard to get people to even support you. Even if it costs them nothing, it's hard to get people, right? Like everybody wants everything from everybody else, but they can't even fucking provide the simplest of support. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And it's a time thing as well. Like I know we're in different time zones and I've been late on this call because I was trying to finish like in the things with people from the other call. But, you know, it's a time thing because we have only 24 hours in a day and people are trying to fit in their job, which is 8 hours. They might have a half an hour or an hour drive to get to their job. There's 10 hours. When they get home, they may not want to participate in everything because they're 10 hours later, they're like, I just want to rest on the lounge, which sounds like procrastinating, but procrastinating isn't bad if you are resting because you've just done 10 hours of movement, basically. Job, moving, car, stress, the whole thing. And then you just want to take a moment for yourself. You could call that procrastination, and it could end up procrastination if you then turn on the telly and take a couple of more hours watching something. And so then it could be then included as procrastination. Or you just take half an hour and just honor that rest. You know how people have a siesta in some countries? So they're honoring the digestion of what they've just done for 10 hours and coming back to their center, coming back to their powerful place of the chi energy that energizes and revitalizes and nurtures the body back into calmness after 10 hours of work and driving.
No, that's definitely a very romantic as far as like caring perspective on the idea. I mean, I've only known you for a year and you still make it. And, you know, it's not even about always the gift. It's about the idea or the thought of the gift. Sometimes I just question, and it's not necessarily, you know, you're not supposed to do things for others in hopes that they do things in return. But there's a lot of coaches out there, a lot of, and no offense to these individuals, but their information is just cookie cutter. Maybe my information is cookie cutter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just every other coach. But I go out of my way because they're my friends to promote them. They don't do the same thing. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, And now again, now this is only my eternal struggle because I don't know them. I don't know what's going on in their minds.
Yeah.
I can only handle. So we're like a mirror image of reality.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever you want, you're supposed to give. So I've always driven myself to decide what I want and give it away because it doesn't own me. I own it. I am the master of my desires. I just don't understand why even.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you're only gonna make so many. You're only gonna make so many real friends in your life. You know, a lot of everybody else is acquaintances. And here's another thing: not time. Time does not play value.
No,
Time
no.
an illusion. I can
Yeah.
know someone for 15, 20 years who's still a piece of shit to me.
Yeah, exactly. So even that 10 hours depends on how you view it, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the 8 hour shift, the 2 hours relaxation afterwards. It depends how you view it. So I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Let me mute myself. Because
Bless you.
some people would not even blink at that 10 hours because for them, their job is their passion. Like you would be productive in your 10 hours working. Even your drive to and from work would be just full on blissful joy because you could be someone that drives past the beach every day and looks at the ocean on your way to work, or just love looking at buildings on your way to work. Everyone's got a different, unique internal passion. And so you'd come home after 10 hours and you could be the person that has no interest in taking a rest because you then want to get back out and go to a walk down the beach because that makes you alive and fully replenished and connects you. And you've had an exciting 10 hours at work. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
everyone's so different. I just use that as an example because everyone's idea of time is different. Like for some, that would be a lot of time out of their day, and the rest of the time, yeah, they could jump on a live Zoom on Facebook with you and me, but they may not want to because they may want to take space and have nothing to do with social media at all because of whatever they do in their normal day-to-day passion. And so, if anyone's watching and you want to join in with me and James on a call anytime, you are most welcome. And then,
Kelly, you really are an angel, my friend. You really are an angel. Last year I was in that situation where I was at the beach almost every day, and I was enjoying the hell out of life. It was just quality. And for different reasons, I am no longer in that situation. Almost like the gift, it's almost like I was allowed to walk past the gates of heaven, and then kick back out of it, and now I'm a little resentful.
Yeah.
But I think the second thing was hopping on, joining us. Oh, like I was saying with what you want, right? Like it's really challenging. Oh, okay. For example, you say people get off work 10 hours.
Yeah. Oh, it's just my example.
Wow, this is an example. 24 hours, they get off work 10 hours.
Yeah.
How many of these people, now this is their choice, right? Everything's a choice, and I get it. We prioritize. We do what we want. We make excuses for what we don't want. Maybe I'm not the most entertaining individual. Maybe I'm not a rock star. But I'll say it like this. If I was a celebrity or a professional athlete, how many of the people who say they love me would hop on that call with a person who don't give a shit about them?
Yeah, exactly. It's all in perception, isn't it?
They'd hop on Tom Cruise, but he don't fucking give a shit about them, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, who are we giving our value to? I was talking about this earlier. It's like, who do you really value? Do you value the people that will show up for you?
Yeah.
And that's really, I can't talk to other people. I can only talk to myself. So that's why I show up as often as I can. And you do too, obviously. I mean, you're an amazing person. That's why I'm very happy. And really what I want to talk about before I got at the idea of procrastination and lack of preparation, because those are two of my not strengths.
Yeah.
I want to know how your meeting went. And I was really, really hoping that I could have been responsible. Hopefully I was, for at least encouraging a couple of women to hop on your Zoom call.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple of women. So like Tisha was there and
Okay,
Megan was gonna join in, but she couldn't make it. But she even last night she was gonna join in and still couldn't get there today. But hopefully she'll be there tomorrow. So I just thought, yeah, definitely. There's always a couple of people that come from your gifts and sharings that come along to the value of it.
It wasn't just about me, my ego, but it was also about the idea that I get it, man. And like you provide real value and people need to show up because people need to hear what you have to say. And if I have to beat that horse to death with the tail of that dead horse's mother, that's exactly what I'm going to do because the point needs to be made, right? Like I'm sure it was a valuable class.
Yeah, they're always valuable. Like when any woman shows up for another woman, there's value instant. Even if we don't speak, even if we just see each other and appreciate the fact we've shown up and we're in a group. And it's the same with men and women showing up together or men in a men's group. Like they're all valuable because when we show up, the power is in the showing up. Just that alone validates the value of each person in the group. Like that alone, we don't even have to speak. I mean, it might be strange sitting there and all just witnessing each other. Yes, I agree. But the point is there's power in the showing up. That is the power.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Because like you said, there are struggles, there are things that we're fighting, our tiredness, our mental struggles, our voices in our minds. When you get through all those barriers and you prove to yourself that that's not going to stop you from doing what you really want to do, and when that really want is another individual, I'm not sure what the word is for that, but you want to, I mean, listen, I at the very least want to help people I care about.
Yeah. Look, the value of showing up to any group is the connection as well, like being seen. It's the connections made. You're collaborating. The collaboration is about the value of you and me. We're unique. There's no judgment in it. There's no criticism needed. We're just uniquely showing up and sharing so that we're seen and heard. And each one of us are seen and heard, and there's value in that. Like there is no that creates a unified field of no separation because we then become the valuable energy of the universe, and that's where abundance lies. When like I could have called the class abundance for women, I could have called it abundance for men, I could have called it abundance for both men and women, yin and yang, but I didn't because I know that women need to find the reconnection to both womb magic and heart magic. And some people have done tantra and all those things and connected all those parts of the feminine for years and years and years. But this class is just very simple practices. There's nothing needed that would scare anyone away. It just helps you realign your chi energy to all parts of your body. And there's value in that. When we stand in our valuable energy, our valuable body, and merge both together and be present with that, there's value. And it's for men and women. I can teach men's presence classes as well. It's not just about women's womb magic and heart magic. It's just in this particular case, it was a womb class or women's class to connect to both heart and womb, because that affects the whole family. That's the ripple effect for the whole family. The mother of the family or any woman, that's her power. And when she's utilizing that, it's a ripple effect and it supports the whole family and your relationships to be valued. Like we're talking about valuing each other and equality, but it's an equality of personal value and group value, and that's a ripple. That makes a ripple in the world.
Yeah, it reminds me of the first universal law of divine oneness. what I was going to say though is you brought up a good topic, and you could have called it anything.
Yeah.
And my mentor, one of the first things he taught me, words are spells.
Mm.
They come spelling words. You know, you use a term. If I were to go in a room full of irrelevant amount of people, and you say dog, everybody would envision a different dog, because the word dog is subjective. It's not even universal. No word is universal. It's just a way we transmit thoughts to another person. So now if we were to eliminate all words and all presence of thought and just exist, how would we exist in the universe? Because it is there. There are stars, there is the moon, there is the sun, there are planets, there's universes and galaxies, that which cannot explain. But we try to develop our understanding through our consciousness, and then we spat out shit that we believe to represent what we believe.
Mm.
But our
Yeah.
words all represent of us and our beliefs. If we were to eliminate all beliefs, and just exist and be present and observe, what would we observe, and how much more could we create?
Yeah. I mean, this is the value of what the class was about today. Like, the intention is for women to be in their dantian or their hara, their womb magic, and
Yeah.
from there observe, become aware of how they feel, what they're thinking, what they're noticing when other people express. The value is in that, because from that observation or awareness, you then can make a powerful choice that values you in the moment and also values anyone else in the same conversation or relationship that's going on outside in your family. Like, you've got a different choice point, a different choice value that's created with that awareness. So men can do the same. So you're sitting in your dantian, masculine yang energy, and you're working from the gut instinct. I mean, people call it the gut instinct, but it's the power of your source, your intuition.
You say God instinct?
Yeah.
God?
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, you can name it universal energy, whatever you like, source, or God, but because everyone names it differently. But it's our chi energy. It's where the energetic presence meets the physical matter. It's where you're birthing projects for women, but it's also the power center.
I was reading something, this is a belief or an idea or a theory, and it was about Jesus, and Jesus being a representation of the highest form of enlightenment, as opposed to an actual human being, just what one can reach when they get to that place. Now, the question I have, because obviously people are going to let us down if we allow them to let us down, and they let us down because we have expectations.
Yes.
But if you give up expectations and you live in acceptancy, because a rock doesn't care what happens around it, water, no water, tree, mountain, it is what it is. Well, if we're matter, like all matter, the matter in the universe, then we should merely exist, right? Like, we don't really need to work or think or love or any of these things. So now the question is, if we're really looking for true enlightenment, the next level, how much do we give up? Now, we always talk about material items as giving up, but how much of our human self do we give up?
Yeah, I think it's more about giving up your perception, like that ego perception. Like, when I say that, I hope that makes sense to people if they listen to this.
Makes sense.
Okay, yeah, because our mind has a perception, our heart has a different one.
Yeah.
So when we get into our heart and our gut instinct, our interpretation or perception will be slightly different, as in it'll be more clarified. And so how often is our mind perceiving what others are saying? Like I said earlier, like, you're listening to someone and half the time you go into your mind and your mind says, oh, I've had that happen. Oh, I want to speak now. Oh, I've got to listen. Like your mind's telling you all sorts of stories, even in the conversation. But when you listen from your heart, when you listen from all of your body, not your mind running the ship, your perception is totally different because you're coming from love and there is no attachment to that conversation. I mean, it takes a bit of practice because I'm not perfect at it, but I'm teaching the skills that I have learned to perfect it. And yeah, there's power in that for all of us. Jesus,
Right.
I'm assuming, was good at that.
Well, you know what I was getting to. So I was, me and my wife were making fish tacos tonight, and I forgot lettuce.
Okay.
So I'm texting her, let her know that I forgot lettuce. But what I was getting at is this. So we're looking at things from what is perceived to be the greatest source of energy: love, enlightenment, right? And I don't want to offend anybody, so forgive me if I don't care if I do, but just don't take offense when I say, because it's better for you. Well, then you don't get offended by things so easily, right? Because you control how you respond. Ignorance is outside of you, and let that be outside of you. If you perceive it as ignorance. But now I love in the sense that I have this vibrational frequency expelling from my body. But now when I take ownership of parent, child, mate, these are the ego. This is not love. You may see it as love. My spouse, my parents, my child. This is not universal love. So I don't believe, right? So a star does not say, that's my star, that's my moon. They don't take ownership or possession of anything. Now, how things come about, but I think that's where the humans kind of fall short, because they see love as who they
ownership.
love. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in that, there's a bit of a control, obviously, in ownership. You know, like that's why people get angry when someone runs into their car and dents the front panel and people get out of the car and want to abuse each other because, you know, that's their pride and possession and that's their ownership. I mean, I'm going into another story, but I remember watching a man get hit by a car and he did the wrong thing. He ran across the crossing at the traffic lights and we were all stopped and he didn't press the button. He just ran from down the street and kept running and ran across all the cars as we were taking off because we got the green light, and he came sideways out of a side street and ran across in front of all the cars as they were with the green light starting to move. And so this lady, because of where he ran to and his speed, he hit the lady turning right. And then he got back up, stood up, and fully abused her through her window for hitting him. And so, you know, it was the ownership of the whole thing. Like, he blamed her for hitting him, but he paid no attention to the road rules. He was an adult. He just ran. Anyways, the weird thing is he ran off. He looked fine, but I'm assuming his shock would have got him a bit more physically noticed later on. I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but it's just perception and ownership. He believed that we were all in the wrong, all of us cars going with the green light, thinking no fool would run across a crossing now that the green lights are going the other way. And he obviously, whatever reason, in his young 20s, didn't care for road rules because he believed he had ownership of crossing the road.
Well, and, like in the U.S., the pedestrians have the right of way, and that's fine. But a car, if it hits you, well, it weighs a lot more than you. And like physics says, an object in motion will stay in motion until something of greater or equal force is opposed upon it. Well, you're not equal and or greater than a car. Yeah. If a car kills you, I mean, here's the problem: people are stupid.
Yeah, this guy didn't. This guy was in full run, like from down the side street,
Well,
full
he was in his
straight.
own, yeah, he
He was
he's,
in some other La La Land, but
yeah.
he believed that she was at fault, and because we have slightly different crossing the road rules than you guys, and so she was definitely not at fault, and he fully abused her, like fully abused her, like anger, everything. Now, I'm assuming he wouldn't have taken ownership of what he participated in. Like, I assume he wouldn't have come back one day, found that lady and apologized because his belief is he was in the right. Everyone else watching knew that he was totally in the wrong and shouldn't even have been running across a road in the direction he was running. And so, we all have perception and believe what is ours. Like, we believe our children are ours. Like you're saying, our parents, we're responsible for them. Yes, we are to a degree, but we are meant to allow them to have certain choices, because without those, we are the controlling force on their decisions. And when they don't have a choice, a bit like COVID, a lot of people feel there's this divide. Some people want the vaccine, some don't. Some people believe that it's not good for the body because of friends they know that have had really bad effects, and other people have had no effects with the vaccine, not like, or very mild, like a sore arm sort of thing. And so there's this divide, like the freedom of choice is not allowed in what's happening around the world at the moment, especially in Australia. There's no freedom of choice of whether you have something that you have seen your other family members ill with, and then other people haven't seen any symptoms and have no idea why these people are just sharing stories.
Well, I think when it comes down to even the story of the car, the story of the COVID, it comes down to one reality. All these thoughts are illusions. They're not real.
Yeah.
Right? There's two people. There's the oppressed and there's the oppressors. Even the word slavery is not real. Like, it's not like God shingles you. You have the asshole who's oppressing you, and you have your fear-based thoughts that
creating
that have you continue to do what you're doing. Same with Australia, you're locked down, right?
Yeah.
There's 20 people in Australia. If the 20 million people told the government to go fuck themselves,
I know. Why aren't they?
well,
the
government's not like this entity. It's not an alien spaceship. It's just a bunch of overpaid assholes. But if people say fuck you, but we've never done that. Like, not in the last time that I could think of people actually doing that was 1776. When a bunch of Americans said, "Sorry, England, you're way over there. Your resources are way over there. We have an army now, and we have France's support in their Proctor War. We're gonna kick your ass."
Yeah. It's just so interesting because, like, even this conversation, not everyone will appreciate our conversation because they'll have a perception or an ownership of what they believe, and they stick to a little box and can't expand that. And I say a box, but I mean an energetic box where they only
limitation,
they have that limitation on what they believe. And every family has that. Like, every family, if there's 3 or 4 or so kids in a family, each one of those kids will have a different perception on how their parents brought them up.
Well, there's the old story, by old, I mean, I heard of it.
Yeah.
Twin boys were raised in a household. The mother was a stay-at-home mom, probably about 5'4", year average, American lady. She was brought up in a Catholic household. The father was also Catholic. They got married at a young age. They had a daughter and they had 2 twins. The story's about the 2 twin boys. The 2 twin boys, one is named Tom and the other one is named Mike. So Mike and Tom were the 2 oldest. The daughter is younger. So they kind of took care of her. One of the things that developed through their life is their father picked up an alcohol problem. And he started drinking very, very heavily. Later on in Tom and Mike's life, Someone asked Tom, why don't you drink? He says, my father was an alcoholic. People ask Mike, why do you drink so much? Because my father was an alcoholic.
Oh my God. Yeah, interesting.
Now, see, one of the things I wanted to point out too is what I did with all that extra shit was I developed a control of the mind, right? So now you're listening to my words and you're
Yeah.
following along my story. So our minds are all the same. I try to tell people like nothing is new. Like the old
Yeah.
theory that history repeats itself, nothing repeats itself. It's just that the desires or the motivations never change.
Yeah, and the energy's big. In like it still comes back to energy because the matrix of that scenario, there's thousands of people that had alcoholic fathers. Okay, but then there's thousands of people that had alcoholic mothers. We forgot that side of it. And then in that, there was parents that were pure, well, believed to perceive that they were pure in their intention bringing up their children. They weren't alcoholics, but their children are. Like, so
Well,
that energy of an alcoholic, the matrix of the addiction of alcoholic energy is out there in the matrix, and we could easily blob into that energy.
well, the real moral of the story wasn't even about the alcohol. It was more just about our perception of ideologies. So there was a thing called Puritanism, purists or whatever. Well, these are just manipulation processes into basically conforming people to a certain line or certain way of doing things.
Yeah.
Same goes for anything, right? It's like if there's one thing I like to do is I would like to live on a planet where we had 8 billion free thinkers and not 2 thinkers and 8 billion people.
Yeah.
I know everybody is so offended by the opposition, but there is no opposition.
Yeah, but that's why I brought up about the energy and the alcohol thing, because every thought has energy. Like you can telepathically.
How do we escape thought?
Well, get down in all of the body, go into your heart. There's no thought needed. Like a lot of people, when you speak from the heart, they might say 5 words. If they speak from their mind, they've got a whole story. But when they go to their heart, it's just 5 words for the story.
Do you know somebody who can teach people to get better at that?
I can teach you how to get better at that.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys and gals, if anybody's listening, I've interacted with a lot of people. And there's one thing really, really important. And that is, what source do we come from? I'm going to tell you right now, I've been talking to Kelly. I've been blessed to have met her, particularly because she's halfway around the world. And her gift, her talents are going to change your world. And there's no value or price that you can put on changing the way you think and feel and going about your day. So I'm really, Kelly, we're going to get you a clientele list so stinking long. You're gonna have people on waiting lists, man. You know, you might have to get what they call those virtual assistants.
Wow, I can do group call.
Well, just whatever you do. If you do get a virtual assistant in the future, just make sure they live in Australia, right? Like, spend your what was the old saying that my company taught me? Spend your dough where you make your bread. Right? Keep it in the economy. That's how you maintain your economy. Yeah. It's a circulation. You don't spew it out, you maintain it. So you live in Australia and you should keep Australia, how I'm going to say it, keep Australia great. Yeah.
Well, that's what the ecosystem's about, isn't it? That is the value of each human being. Like, you know, I think voices need to be heard. Like if there's people with an opinion on what's going on at the moment, those voices should be heard, but only voices that come from truth, not just people making up a story to get people feared, because that doesn't serve any value. All it does is make more fear energy. But what we do need is the people that know what's going on in and behind the scenes, and it's the truth, that should be shared, because people deserve the right to have a proper choice in their decisions that value their body and value your family and value humanity. Like, it's not about making money.
You know what you should be doing by my recommendation? You should be doing corporate corporate conferences or corporate events, because I think what you provide a clearer pathway. It's kind of like our vessels, our veins, right? Like they become cholesterol dense, and the stress increases. Well, the same goes for people. Their minds, they become restricted, and then things become stressful. What I think you do is you open an alternative pathway, and I think that could be a good calling. I think you could really do well in the corporate world as far as providing retreats, even if it's Zoom or virtual retreats. I think that would be really beneficial for a lot of people. I just had the idea right now as I was thinking about it.
Yeah. I'm definitely into helping people and connect to their value and help more. So yeah, whatever will help, I'm happy to do.
Sorry, this is how my mind works. I'm always thinking about I'm always thinking about things like entrepreneur stuff, like creation.
Yeah.
I used to
always create.
Well, I knew a lot of people in the fitness world, and I knew some of them who actually did fitness classes for like large corporations. Like I taught a class for, what was it? Volcom, which is a company. I went to the headquarters and I taught a group fitness class. Well, a lot of these huge corporations want to provide value to their employees because a happy employee is a productive employee. So I'm just saying, I've met trainers who only train for Taco Bell. Like they go to the Taco Bell headquarters and they train the employees. That's all they do. That's their job. What do? I'm a personal trainer. I'm a 1099, which is private, tax reasons, but they train just Taco Bell employees.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe we'll discuss further on another talk so that we're not here too long.
Yeah, I know.
What's your next, what have you got a theme for your next time we connect?
Well, I need to be a better non-procrastinator. I think really just, I like to do it. I really feel like everybody, regardless of what they do or what they feel they should be doing, they should be enjoying it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so I do a lot of what I enjoy to do because life is short, I just, I don't know. I guess I'm learning a lot. I'm having a great opportunity to learn from amazing people.
Yeah.
I wanted to make Noble Goldman's 6 p.m. call today.
Yeah, that's started.
It already passed 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on there too.
Maybe I'll hop on at 7 p.m.
Yeah, it's not too late to join in. Like you should be up to.
You think they'll let us? Well, let me go ahead. All right, you
two.
two.
Yeah.